thing to say is, yes, you can sit down. But if you want to get anything out of this, you'll be a lot better off standing up. It's up to you guys. By all means, sit if you want to sit, but you'll find it's a lot more interesting if you're standing up. Let's start by actually thinking about our bodies for a second. What I want each of you to do is just think for a second, is anything aching? I'm not going to ask you, I'm not going to be told. Stop it. Just think to yourselves, before we start, take stock of your own body. Does everything feel fine? Because if we're going to do some stretches, at the end of it, it would be nice to be able to say to ourselves, has anything improved? So you can't do that unless you start by saying, this is where I am now. So just give yourselves a shake and just think, does this feel right? Is there anything that's hurting? Anything I'm thinking, oh, I wish that wasn't hurting? I just file it away up here, okay? Right. Next thing to do is stand. Okay, so look at how I'm standing. Me. The way that I'm standing is absolutely typical of the way that people tend to stand, including me. If you look at any group of people, and before coming on to do this talk, I looked around to see how people were standing, and most people were standing more or less like this. That includes, for example, what you'll see 6'7", is that all of my weight is going down the right-hand side of my body. It's going straight through my right hip, down my right leg, onto my right foot. So what's my left leg doing? Steadying me. That's it. It's got no weight on it. It's just holding me steady. This is very comfortable. I can stand like this if I have to for quite a long time. What it's not is symmetrical. My body's twisted. If you look at me, look at how I'm standing. I'm twisted out of shape. I've got my pelvis twisted, my shoulders are twisted, my spine is twisted, and what I'm doing is I'm doing damage to myself by standing like this. Only a little bit of damage, but I'm doing damage. And if I stand like this repeatedly, day after day, week after week, it all mounts up. This is a major contributory factor to having back problems, is not thinking about what I'm doing. So let's try something different. Try standing like this. Okay? Now at the moment all I'm doing is standing with my legs apart, looking fairly ordinary, but actually there's more going on than that, because what I'm now going to do is a little bit of Pilates. What I want you all to do, without moving your feet, I want you to try to bring your feet towards each other without moving your feet. Now if you try and do that, you'll realise what you're doing is you're tightening up the inner thigh here. Okay? Try doing that. Just try pulling your knees and your feet towards each other. I've just done it, by the way, in case you're wondering. I'm doing it right now. I'm now feeling much more taut, much more controlled. Okay? What I'm doing is I'm turning my body into an A-frame. Engineers use this a lot. What I've got is two uprights coming together at my waist, and the crossbar of the A is the invisible crossbar of me trying to pull my legs together. Just doing that, just that one simple change, will totally transform the way that your body feels. Is anybody getting this? Are you noticing straight away that it feels more comfortable to stand like this? All right? I'm symmetrical, I'm balanced, I'm feeling fairly firm. This is good. This is just using my thighs. The reason that's helping is because my thighs are core muscles. They're part of your core muscle groups. Now if you talk to any group of people and you mention muscles, what everybody tends to think of is rippling biceps. Look at me. That's not what I'm talking about at all. Core muscles are quite different. Your core muscles are your thighs, great big muscles that control your legs. Buttocks, great big solid muscles. People tend to overlook these a lot. You don't want to talk about your bum very much, but your bum is actually one of the biggest muscles in your body. Stomach, great big solid muscle. Yeah, I know there's flab on top of it, sorry about that. But the fact is, that is muscle. And then finally, you've got one muscle you never even think about, and that's your diaphragm. Your diaphragm, you may think about as being something used for breathing and for singing, and yes, you do use it for that. The reason you use it is because it is a muscle, a very large muscle. Those four muscles I just mentioned, thighs, bum, stomach, diaphragm, if you get all of those engaged, that's called engaging your core, if you forgive the jargon. What that'll do for you is totally transform the way you stand and the way you feel. How do you use your diaphragm? Okay, take a deep breath. If I say take a deep breath, again, what's going through the mind of at least some of you is, I'm a beach. Look at me. Yeah? No, that's not what I mean by a big breath. Big breath, Buddha. Think Buddha. You think of the pictures of the Buddha you've seen with a big belly. Okay? Think of Buddha breathing. That's not even slightly sexy. But it's engaging the muscles. It's waking up that muscle group, which otherwise wouldn't be doing anything. Do it again. Right. I'm now already beginning to feel quite a lot better. Try it. Try doing a Buddha breathe. Try deliberately throwing your stomach out and really inflating. Forget about your chest. That's to look good on the beach. Engage your stomach and your diaphragm. All right? Now, if you're thinking now about, all at the same time, your buttocks, your thighs, your stomach, and your diaphragm, you should find you're already feeling better just for doing that. I know I am. Just standing here talking to you, this is already feeling like really, really comfortable. I'm totally relaxed. I'll be able to do this for ages. So why am I standing here? There's a stage. What am I doing standing on here? I've got a bloody stage. The reason I'm standing on here is because this area is about 2 foot on the side. All right? This is about the amount of space that I take up when I stand in a pub with a beer in my hand. And I do these exercises in a pub. I'm doing them right now. I'm doing Pilates as you look at me. It doesn't show, does it? I haven't got a tattoo across my forehead saying he's doing Pilates. You can do this stuff in a pub. You can do it in a rehearsal room without your bandmates necessarily noticing if you're embarrassed about this sort of thing. Okay? What you want is to do these exercises before you go on stage. I play in a pub rock band. Strangely enough, half my bleeding band is here right now. Ding, ding. So we've finished loading out into the pub. We've set up the PA, we've set up the light rig, I set up my bass rig. I've got 5-10 minutes before I'm due on stage. What could I usefully be doing? I'll tell you what I could usefully be doing. I could be doing some stretches. Get myself nicely loosened up, ready to play. And nobody need know. Let's start with, it's all in the fingers, remember? Start with the fingers. Now, you can either do this finger to finger, or you can do them one at a time. What I want you to do is to stretch back, finger to finger. Pain, stop, 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 stop. Pain, I forgot to mention pain. No pain, no gain. Right, we all know that. Bollocks. That's complete rubbish. Going for the burn, no. Okay, we're heading into Tommy Cooper territory here. Pain is God's way of telling you, don't do that. If something is hurting, then stop doing it. I'm not a Pilates trainer, I'm not a qualified instructor, I'm a bass player who spent 3 years fighting back from bad backs, and I've picked up some stuff along the way. That's all. If you find yourself doing something and it hurts, stop doing it. Try this. Try stretching back, forefinger to forefinger, stretch back, finger to finger, enough that the web between these two fingers is stretching, enough so that you know that you're stretching it, but not enough so that it's painful. That was easy. Now try the second finger, middle finger. Fine. Now do the third finger. And of course, the fourth finger. Okay? All you're doing there is loosening up the muscles in the fingers. What about the thumb? Can we do the same thing with the thumb? You can, but you need to be slightly more careful because of that. Okay? That big muscle at the base of the thumb, you'll be particularly aware of this if you play with a pick. If you spend enough time doing that, you'll be familiar with the sensation of that thing there locking up on you, getting more and more painful, more and more uncomfortable. And you're thinking, how can I loosen that up? And the answer is, you tenderize it. All right? Exactly like somebody about to cook a steak. If you think the steak may be tough, you tenderize it. How do you tenderize it? You hit it with a bloody hammer, don't you? Well, I haven't got a hammer, so what I'm going to do is straight eights, okay? Just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I can press back on the thumb. All right? Now, if you do that, so that you know that you're tapping it, you feel the tap. We're not trying to hurt ourselves here. We're trying to loosen up the muscle. The reason for that is because muscles work by contracting. They don't expand, they don't push. So the only way a muscle can work is by getting tighter and tighter. And if you use a muscle enough, it'll just keep getting tighter. That's how you get cramp, that's how you get pain. So what you have to do is persuade that muscle to relax. That's what that's all about. You're just knocking that muscle into a looser position and then stretching it. That's my hands. My hands are now feeling absolutely fine. I can pick up a bass and play with no pain, no effort at all. Let's move up the arms a bit. Forearms. Forearms. You could look through my skin and bone. What you'd see is a pair of bones, a bunch of tendons, a bunch of muscles. There's quite a lot going on in there. How am I going to loosen that up? I don't want to be standing here banging my arms. That's going to get quite painful after a while. The answer turns out to be you need a specialist piece of equipment. There we go. Special piece of equipment. I call this a towel. I'll spell it for you later, okay?
Is that not technically a beer towel?
It could be a beer towel, yeah. In fairness, it's also a Kaiser Chiefs beer towel. I predict a riot. So, what I'm going to do with this, what I want you to do is pretend you're holding a loose towel, like this, hand over hand. You can handle this. It's method acting.
Okay.
Right, what I'm doing is I'm gently twisting the towel against itself. The towel is a distraction. This has got nothing to do with the towel. It's got nothing to do with my hands. While you're doing this, keep doing it and think about your forearms. What we're doing is rotating the forearms and then swap it round. So instead of left over right, you're doing right over left or whichever, and do it again. You're rotating every part of your forearms. And what that is doing is it's loosening them up. All right? Now, all of the stuff that we've done so far, seriously, I do standing by the bar at the Dog and Duck with a pint by my side. All right? That, for example, they usually have beer towels on the bar. We don't actually need the beer towel. You can do this down here. So I'm talking to my friends, and okay, fair enough. You don't understand this, but you get the general idea, right? Most of these exercises are not exercises, they're stretches. And most of them can be done very subtly without anybody really noticing that you're doing them. So, where to go next? Well, we've done that. Time to move up to the biceps. What we're going to do here is start to interact with the shoulders. All of your body is complicated. Your forearms are really very complicated, but not nearly as complicated as your shoulders. And the shoulders are then going to go into small of your back area. It all gets very interactive, and you have to work on each muscle individually if you can. Much of Pilates is about focusing, isolating a single muscle or muscle group and stretching that. What I want you to do is put your hands together, not particularly firmly, just touching each other, okay? And then I want you to take that praying position and reverse it so that the tips of your middle finger are touching your breastbone. While you're doing this, don't look at me for a second. Think about what your body is doing. Think about which muscles you're stretching. Okay? Come out of that, give it a quick shake to loosen, and do it again. And again, think about which muscles are being stretched. A lot of this stuff is simply to do with recognizing what you're doing. And again, you can do this by the bar. By now people are beginning to mutter, but you can do this standing by the bar. For the next one, you might want to step into the car park. So this time, take the same position, and we're going to work a different set of muscles. Hands over your head, and push up. Now you should feel that you are using a very different set of muscles. You're doing the same stretch, sort of, using the same bits of your body, but you're now stretching different muscles. This should be stretching this area at the top of your shoulder, and that's an attachment, that's a linkage where your muscle is linking onto the bones up there. So that should loosen that up. And finally, since we're in praying mode anyway, let's stretch one last set of muscles and go over the back of your head like that. Loz, what's wrong?
Can't do that.
Can't do that?
No, my arm only goes up to there.
See,
I'm unfortunate dancing, especially with this.
okay. Bear in mind, while you're doing this, guys, I do hope you are all A-framing Yes? You are A-framing, aren't you?
Yes.
All right? Because what you need to do is to get into the hang of just routinely, without thinking about it, standing like this, and I'm A-framing. I'm squeezing my bum and holding in my stomach slightly, not to try and look good, but to try and engage with my core. Okay? So, how are we feeling so far? Is anybody in pain for